Hi everyone, it's Arsh Ellahi. It's Bank Holiday Sunday. I hope you're well. Hope you've had a good weekend so far. Hopefully you've enjoyed the Bank Holiday. If you wouldn't mind, just let me know that you can hear me now, nice and loudly and clearly. Sorry, I'm just trying to find my cursor. Let me know that you can hear me nice and loudly and clearly. I'm going to see if I can get through some of the questions today. So tonight, what we're going to be covering is how we can find a deal live. We're going to be looking at deal trading, or as I call it, deal trading, or if you want to call it trading property, no money down, and how it's made easy. So let me just quickly make sure. So brilliant. Okay, so I've got my cursor back. Just making sure that we've got no issues. So everyone can say, okay, loud and clear. Everyone's hearing so far. Brilliant. So I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for trusting me this evening with your time. Appreciate that time's the most precious commodity. And I guarantee that this is going to be the best investment that you're going to make. So I appreciate that. Sunday, Bank Holiday Sunday, we could be doing lots of other things. We could be out with our friends, we could be socialising. But if it's anywhere like Wolverhampton this evening, we've been experiencing some rather severe thunderstorms, and it's been quite a wet and windy day. So let's get moving on. We've got a lot to do. We've got 90 minutes. So what we're going to cover in the 90 minutes, I'm going to show you we're going to go through some theory initially. So go through some basic theory showing you how the simple three-step system can get you to deal trading success. We're going to be showing you the fastest way to make property cash flow. We're going to be showing you how to contact vendors direct. We're going to be looking at the number of deals that I did in 2017, the kind of deals that we did in 2017, some of the property that we got in 2018, and how to get started with no money or no experience. So hopefully you like the thought of that. I'm just going through some of the questions. So yeah, okay. So lots of people said that they can hear nice and loudly and clearly. Okay, so brilliant. So let's keep moving on. So why should you listen to me? Now, I appreciate there's lots of people out on the property circuit, lots of people talking about it, but here's what makes me different. So first of all, I'm a best-selling author of a book called Boom, Bust and Back Again. And as the title suggests, it's never always been an easy journey for me. So I've seen some good times, I've seen some bad times, and as a result, I'm back to tell the tale. So I'm not just one of these people that have been on a property workshop and just decided to try and fluff it and try and sell someone a regurgitated version of what they've learned. All the stuff that you're going to be hearing is all the stuff that I've actually been doing. I'm also a monthly columnist of two very well-known UK property magazines. So we've got YPM magazine, which is Your Property Network, and HMO magazine. You could say that I'm a bit of a property veteran who's survived the brink of bust of recession. So as I said, boom, bust and back again. I was literally on the brink of going bust in the recession when the market crashed, and I'll go through that whole journey in my book there, which is available on Amazon. I started deal trading business on a shoestring budget and made a whopping £6 million profit in 3 years. Again, that journey and that story is shared in the book. And then finally, I'm a property investor, trainer, I'm a mentor, and I've helped hundreds of people achieve financial freedom. One thing that I want to suggest, or one thing that I want to spell out from the very start, and I make no apologies about this, I am a property investor first and foremost. The reason why I say that is that I've seen lots of people who have gone out and started training, but they haven't had the experience. When I say they haven't had the experience, they've gone off and they've done a training scheme with one of the other companies, and as a result, they've then started teaching it the very next day, but they haven't got the experience to do that. They haven't seen the good sides, they haven't seen the bad sides. Just give me an example. Like last year, 2017, I actually purchased 50 properties for my property portfolio. So that means that I'm still an active property investor. I'm still practicing all the strategies that I'm teaching. In 2018, so far, I've purchased 15 more properties for my own portfolio. So again, still buying. One of my most recent purchases is a property. If you're friends with me on social media, you would have seen a property that I purchased. It's a house which is converted into 4 flats. and we've gone in for planning permission. So I bought it for 180,000 with a direct vendor on it. Bought it for 180,000. We put in planning permission to turn it from 4 flats into 6 flats. Planning permission should have been granted hopefully on Tuesday, so the day after tomorrow. I spoke to the planner tail end of last week and said that they had no issues with the application, just whether anyone puts in any form of complaint, and that notice was due to expire Friday just gone. So as you can see, I am very much a property investor first and foremost. As a result of purchasing it for £180,000 with the planning permission in place, and if I was to build out, that's now going to have a value of 480,000, which means that potentially, even after a build cost of circa £100,000, we're going to be left with a net profit of £200,000. So as you can see, I am a property investor first and foremost. So tonight's session can only work if it's interactive, which means that I need your help. If you're not prepared to participate, this is probably the wrong webinar for you. I need your input in order to make this webinar a success. So if you wouldn't mind, can you give me a quick yes or no? Are you happy to participate in that? And if you are, great, fantastic. Okay, so straight away, everyone's saying yes. Okay, brilliant. And the reason why I want to make sure that I've got you on board is that if you can't participate, again, this is probably the wrong session for you. As you can tell, I'm very much a very straight talking guy. So what's your reason why? My reason why, very simply, is that, again, if you're friends with me on social media, I am very open. My social media is a mixture of not only my business and what I do on a day-to-day, but also my personal family life. I've got a very young family. So my wife, we've got 2 very young children who are 4 and 3, and they're my reason why. Now I've got the best part of 1,000 tenants, so you could say that I've got a fair amount of property, which means that I've been financially free very early on in my property journey. However, the question that I get asked, I get interviewed quite a lot for magazines, for podcasts, and for various different resources. And one of the questions that comes up quite a lot is that, Arsh, okay, if you're already financially free, why are you still doing this? And, to be fair, I ask myself this question as well, because do I need to do what I'm doing at the moment? The answer is no. Why do I do it? And for me, it's all about the thrive. It's about the challenge. It's about doing the next deal. That's what really spurs me on. Walking into my office and seeing that we've got members of staff who are doing deals, I've got mentees that are doing deals, I've got the group, the Elite Property Tribe that are all doing deals. That's what really spurs me on. The fact that I'm still purchasing property myself, I'm still negotiating on property myself, that's what really works extremely well for me. And that's what, if I retired, I kept saying to myself, what am I going to do with all this spare time? My wife thinks that I'll never retire. I'd like to think that I'm going to retire at the age of 45. I've got things in place to make that happen. But what's your reason why? Spend this moment here, if you can, just typing in, what's the reason for you to be here? What makes it work for you? Or why do you want to get involved in property? So Paul Griffin straight away is coming in to go, I've got a mother who has Alzheimer's, and deal packages is something that I could do part-time while still looking after her. Plus, it's about time I got to the stage where money is not a major consideration anymore. And, to be fair, that's a fantastic reason why. I'm a big believer that you've got to give back, whether that be to charity, whether that be to giving back to your parents. I've got an elderly mother as well, and thankfully I'm in a position where I can look after her as well as look after all the other people around me as well. So I've got lots of siblings that I also look after. So we've got lots of people. So Ian Stam said, I need to utilise my capital. Okay, so interesting. So lots of different reasons why lots of people talking about financial freedom, financial independence. Okay, so lots of people, Martin said, I want to make sure that my family is financially secure. So we've got lots of reasons, freedom, People want, when I talk about freedom, really, what I'm also concentrating on is time. Get yourself get back your time, and time is where you spend with your work. So Mark has said, don't want to spend more time with my family. His currently work is 10 hours a day plus. So, you know, as you can appreciate, Julian said at 53, got a young daughter, a burning desire to be financially free, leave a legacy for his daughter. And again, these are all great reasons. There's no right or wrong, because all these are obviously very personal to you. Very, very personal to you. So in that respect, these are the reasons why you've got to become, and you've got to write these down, and you've got to become familiar with these, or you've got to check in with yourself pretty much daily. I check in with myself pretty much daily just to ensure, you know, everyone has good days, everyone has bad days. Even with deal trading, I'm not going to say that every day is going to be a good day, because it's not. Let's face it, we're going to have good days, we're going to have bad days, we're going to pretty much come back to ourselves and ask ourselves why we're doing this. And this is why you've got to have your reason why. You've got to have it in front of you in black and white, so that when you have a bad day, you can check in and say, you know what, my reason why is my daughters. All I need to do is look at them, and I'll know why I'm doing this and the reason why I put myself through this. So we've got to ask yourself, what were your property goals for 2008? Now, for some of you, I'm just putting these up here, that some of you it may have been for you to quit your job. Some of you it may have been to make property pay for some stuff like luxuries, such as cars, holidays, clothes, etc. And there's nothing wrong with having, you know, stuff, materialistic anchors. Some people call it, because that may be your mark of success. So you may want a nice car, you may want to go on holidays, etc. There's nothing wrong with that. Yes, it may be materialistic, but let's face it, I'm a big believer that no one should remember you as being the richest person in the graveyard. I'd rather make money, and those money will then make memories. I'm a big fan of that. So, you know, I'm a big fan of taking my kids away on holiday, and as a result of being on holiday, creating memories. And they're the things that you're not going to get back in life. I know I'm being slightly philosophical and a bit deep for Sunday evening, but that's how I'm working. So one of the reasons that you may want to get involved in property, you may want to get your kids on the property ladder. You may want to get your kids through university. You want to pay for your daughter's wedding. Now, next thing that you have to do, I'm a big believer that you've got to have one main big goal. So what's your big goal? And then you've got to create lots of little goals, mini goals, which are going to get you to the big goal. So first of all, you've got to have a look at, what does success look like to you? So is that a monetary value? Is it going to be £5,000 a month? Is it going to be £10,000 a month? But then the next most important question that you've got to ask yourself is, what strategy are you going to use to get there? Is it going to be deal trading? Is it going to be rent to rent? Is it going to be service accommodation? Is it going to be HMOs? Is it going to be trading? Is it going to be flipping? What is it going to be? And the reason why I say that is because those little strategies that you implement. So if it's going to be HMOs, how are we going to buy the HMOs? How are we going to acquire them? What we're going to do? What kind of method? What kind of HMO are we going to create? Are we going to create all-inclusive HMOs, fully exclusive HMOs? Are we going to create the studio model? Are we going to create blocks of apartments? So these are the things. I've got lots of steps in place. So almost like we've got a goal, then we've got the steps to get to that goal. Once we reach that goal, how do we get to the next goal? What steps are we going to do? So life is never always planned out. It's not a case of that I'm going to get to £10,000 a month. I want to get to £10,000 a month. That's a goal. Now we've got to create the steps as to how we're going to get there. So let's get straight into it. We've got a lot of people online. We've got lots of people joining online as well. I appreciate that there's lots of questions coming in. I'm going to get to as many. So Martin says, will you be covering options tonight? Now, with all due respect, Martin, I'm going to be on for 90 minutes. The main focus tonight is deal trading. If we can do a deal where there is an option in place, brilliant, I will cover that. But if we can't, then apologies. So let's get straight into what is deal trading. So first of all, I consider it almost like a matchmaking service. So a matchmaking service where you bring the buyers and the sellers together. And this is a service where you brought them together because they would previously not have been able to find each other. And you've given them a safe and simple way to do business. If you want to simplify it further, I call myself almost like a glorified estate agent. The reason why I say that is because, in essence, let's face it, we're putting a buyer and a seller together, and that's what estate agents do on a day-to-day basis. But we do it in a much quicker and efficient manner, and we've got an opportunity to work nationally to make a lot more commission. Now, the reason why I say that is because, let's face it, an independent estate agent in Wolverhampton may not necessarily start looking for property in Hartlepool because that's out of their patch. They won't be able to cover it. And let's face it, they don't want to have a scattered approach. Now, the reason why I like deal trading is because the scattered approach suits me perfectly fine. Because if for some reason areas, let's say for argument's sake, deals are starting to not sum up. Sorry, because I'm fasting, I'm sometimes get a bit of a blackout or not blackout, mental block. So if you're saying that some of the deals are starting to dry up in a certain location, you go to somewhere else. So for argument's sake, 1 week you may be concentrating on Hartlepool, next week you may be concentrating on Leicester. So Vincent said my area is Leicester. So maybe looking at Leicester, then we may go to Liverpool, then we may go down towards Croydon, then we may go down towards Bournemouth. And that's a beautiful thing. We're not reliant on sticking to one area. We don't have to set up shop in Wolverhampton and stay in Wolverhampton. It's a service that helps homeowners that may have previously been let down by estate agents, and it's a service that also helps other property investors. So we're not in the market to sell to first-time buyers and to homeowners. Does that kind of make sense? Now, the reason why I like deal trading is because, remember, I've got certain goals. I've got a long-term goal, I've got a medium-term goal, and I've got a short-term goal. Now, my short-term goal for me is cash flow. That cash flow will then service my medium-term goals, which may be developments, which in the long-term goal is to buy almost like the stuff that we do on a buy-to-let, or as I like to think of it, buy-to-forget. So the long-term goal is the property portfolio. And the reason why I call it long-term goal is that I don't see my property portfolio as mine. I automatically see my property portfolio as my daughter's, because I'm building it for them. I'm building it for them and their security for their future. So in that respect, when I'm buying property and I'm taking on debt, I'm also thinking about it as almost like a chain around my neck. Or almost like a lock around my neck, because I'm taking on more debt, which means that I'm increasing my outgoings, which means that I then have to work harder to bring in further incomings. Now, have you ever felt like that? Regardless of how many properties that you take on, the more properties you buy, the more debt that you get. Okay, so interesting. So I'm sorry, I'm just going through some of the questions. Okay, so Philip says, yeah, sometimes I feel like that. So, okay, we buy more properties, and people look at this and think, yeah, Arsh, you're doing really well. You've got so many properties. But then if they all thought about the debt that we've got in the background and the sleepless nights thinking about how much the outgoings are, talking about the maintenance, looking about the debt coverage, etc., it can be quite an interesting topic. But the reason why I like deal trading is because I can pretty much do it from anywhere and everywhere. I don't have to be tied down to a certain area. Like I said, 1 week I could be working in Wolverhampton, next week I could be looking at stuff in Brighton, next week I could be looking in Leicester. And that's the beautiful thing about it. It gives me the freedom. Now, the cash flow that I generate from a deal trading, I purposely use that to either purchase more property, or I use it to pay debt down. Now, my goal, very simply, is simple: to become debt-free by the age of 45. I'm 38. What year are we in? Sorry, I'm 37 at the moment. I'm 38 this year, and the goal is that by 45, I'm going to have a completely debt-free portfolio. And I've structured everything so that I will become that. If I keep paying down the debt at the rate that I'm paying it down at the moment, I will get to financial freedom a lot quicker than 45. So I put this up last week and it went down really well. So you've got two opportunities. You can either fish in your local pond, which gives you you've got limited opportunity, which means that you may have 1 or 2 fish in there, Or alternatively, you can go and fish in the ocean. And I make no excuses again when I say that I like to go and fish in the ocean. The reason why I go and fish in the ocean, there's a lot more fish, there's a lot more bait, and as a result, we're going to come back with a lot more deals. And the reason why I say that, people that only stick locally, going back to estate agents that only work within their local area, they're limited to the amount of deals that they can do within their local vicinity. Now, when you take someone, for argument's sake, and a great example of this is, for argument's sake, we could call this online agents versus strategic high street agents. The high street agents can only work within a certain area because they're not going to go and view properties. And I don't know why, I've got Hartlepool in my mind this evening. So if they're based in Wolverhampton, they're not going to go and appraise a property in Hartlepool. Logistically, it doesn't work. However, if they're online, they can look at properties all over the country. And they have done that. Purple Bricks being your great example there. So I'm going to be going at quite a pace this evening, so try and keep up. So, okay. So, Arsh, quick question from Maurice. He goes, Arsh, can you give one tip what makes a good deal trader? Okay, we'll do that actually. I'm not going to cover it now because that's going to give away two secrets. So there's 3 people involved in deal trading, and we want to get to the live stuff. We want to get to live stuff as quick as possible. So step 1, we've got the vendor. That is the person that approaches you with their property, or the agent that approaches you with their property. Now you've got step 2. Now you assess the deal. You've got to assess the angle. You've got to assess the profitability, and you've got to assess how you can package it. Now step 3 is a purchaser, is the person that buys a property from you on the basis that the property makes financial and commercial sense. Now, if we were to put these into people, the first step is the vendor. You've got to have a look at what is their pain. You've got to have a look at what is their motivation. Why is it that they've approached you? Why have they not gone down the traditional method? Or perhaps they've already tried the traditional method of estate agents and letting agents, but they're not moving quick enough. They've got debt. They've got outgoings every month. They've got certain other kind of motivations. They may be moving out of the country. They may be looking to upscale. They may be looking to downscale. You've got to understand. So going back to your question now, Maurice, what's the greatest tip that I can give to someone to make them a good deal trader? The biggest tip that I could give you is the ability to become creative and flexibility. You've got to become creative with your deals. You've got to become flexible with your deals. You've got to become flexible with your approach. That's the biggest tip I can give to anyone, whether you're deal trading or as a property investor. If you're static, you're not going to be able to move very quick. If you're fluid and you're flexible within your approach, and you can adapt to any situation, that's what makes you the best style of property investor. So every time I look at a deal, if you're stuck with your one approach that you only want to buy property 25% below market value, you're only a one-trick pony. And I say this, and I've wrote about this hundreds of times. If you're only going out with one approach, as far as I'm concerned, I'm already 300 times better than you. The reason why I say that is because if you're going to the vendor and saying, okay, my name's Maurice, or if you're walking into an estate agent and says, hi, my name's Maurice, I'm looking for property, but I only want properties 25% below market value, guess what? They're going to throw your card straight in the bin, because that doesn't make you any different to all the other clowns that walked in that week or that year saying exactly the same thing. Hi, my name's Maurice. I'm after properties 25% below market value. I'll even take your smelly or your dirty or your stinky properties that made, and I can turn it around within 7 to 10 days, or I can turn it around exchange this week. What makes me different is that I've got some agents have called me a breath of fresh air. The reason being is that I'm not lying to them from day one. I'm not telling them that I'm their buyer. I'm literally telling them that I'm the person that's going to find them a buyer. Does that make clear? As a deal trader, I'm not going to go to the vendor and say to them, guys, I am your buyer. Because let's face it, if the property is in Hartlepool, potentially I'm not their buyer. If it's in Wolverhampton, yes, I'm their buyer. If the property is a good enough deal and I want it for myself, yes, I'll be the buyer because I'm still buying. But if it's not in my location, it's not real of any interest to me to buy personally, I won't promise them that I'm the buyer. I will say that I will find them a buyer, and as a result, everyone wins. Now, in the scenario of the estate agent, if I can find them a buyer, that still makes them that still, as far as they're concerned, their motivation is that they want to sell property. And we'll go on to the estate agent shortly. Now, sorry, I've deviated slightly from the slide. So step 2 is you. How can you create a win-win-win scenario? And I'll put 3 wins in because there's 3 parts of the transaction. There's the buyer, there's the seller, there's you, and then there's the buyer. You need to make sure that you can profit from the deal without being a busy fool. How can you create the value? So you are the most important part of the whole transaction, because without you, the buyer's not going to know about the property. Without you, the seller's not going to sell their property. And without you, if you can't create the value in it, the property doesn't have any value, full stop. And then finally, we've got step 3, who's the purchaser? How can we put the deal in front of them so that they're going to be satisfied with the deal, which means that they're going to buy the deal, which means that they're going to be satisfied with it? Now, as a deal trader, why do we trade deals? Now, people, I get when I send, just out of curiosity, does everyone see my deals that we send out pretty much on a day-to-day basis? Does everyone see? Okay, so okay, so everyone pretty much says yes, yes, yes. I appreciate you probably get sick of the emails, and again, I don't make any apologies about that, because without the emails, you wouldn't see the deals that we get. So, as a deal trader, the reason why one of the responses that I get pretty much on a day-to-day basis, Arsh, if the deal's so good, why don't you buy it yourself? How do you know that I haven't bought deals? You'll only see the deals that I'm not interested in. So, for argument's sake, one person said, so Paul says, I love the emails. Matt says they're great. Okay, so Frankie said, any deals in Ipswich? Now, you'll see deals in Ipswich just purely because if they're coming from me, you will definitely see a deal from Ipswich, because Ipswich isn't an area that I'm concentrating on. I concentrate on anything in the West Midlands, Wolverhampton, Walsall, Sandwell, Dudley, Birmingham, anything that's pretty much a 40-minute drive or up to an hour's drive for Wolverhampton, which pretty much covers the whole of the West Midlands. If it's in the West Midlands, yes, I will see it. Chances are you probably won't see it come out on email, because the moment that it's come in, chances are I've negotiated it and I've pretty much bought it before any emails are generated. And that's what I like about being a deal trader. It allows me to see all the best deals first. And as a result of that, if it's in an area that's not of interesting, if it's a deal if it's not of interest to me, next thing that I think of is that, okay, it may not be of interest to me, but it might be interest to someone that I know, which in this scenario is people that property investors that are on my database. So as a result of that, I think, well, I'm not going to park the deal and not do anything with it. I might as well monetize it, which means that now I might as well package it and sell it on to someone else, which means that I don't need money to get started. All I need is lots of determination and creativity, which means that there is no risk, because I'm not buying the deal. All I'm doing is I'm facilitating the sale of the deal, which means that I'm pretty much like a glorified estate agent. It gives me fast results, and it's easy and it's quick to scale. You can make, I use this term, I can make holiday-sized bundles of cash from hobby amounts of time. The reason why I say it doesn't take a lot of time to do that, but the amount of cash that you're going to make, 3 to 5 grand, is the kind of amount of funds that you would need to go on holiday. And it's the fastest way to reach your property cash flow goals. So remember, if your goal is to generate £5,000 a month, technically speaking, that's one deal. You only need one deal to hit that. What are you going to do with the other 29 days in the month? If you need if your cash flow is £5,000 a month, that's £60,000 a year. That's equivalent to 12 deals a year. Can you do 12 deals a year? Absolutely. At the moment, I'm turning around 10 deals a week, 2 deals a day. So that's the kind of level of where we are at the moment. Now, you're going to get excited now because we're going to start going into this live. So we're going to find deals online. Whether we get to speak to them directly or not is, we'll give it a go. I'm always up for. I love the challenge. I love the thrive. We don't get disheartened when if we get on the phone, someone tells us to get lost. Someone says, sorry, not interested. As far as I'm concerned, if someone says not interested, that doesn't bother me in the slightest. What I'd rather do is get on the phone to someone else and get moving so that we do a deal. So we will get on there. So the following strategies are the most effective strategies that I use that I use pretty much on a day-to-day basis. So social media, it's free. Now, how am I going to find a deal on social media? Now, the reason why I say that is because lots of people post their deals on social media, and the reason they've pretty much done most of the work for you. So they've probably got the deal and the vendor already in tow. And there's nothing stopping you from going to them and saying, guys, okay, I appreciate that you've got a deal. I may potentially be able to sell your deal. But in order for you to approach them, you've got to be able to offer them something. When I say offer them something, what makes you so special to the transaction? What are you going to be able to do that they haven't already done? They've already got the deal. They've got the property there. What can you do? That will influence them, or will say to them that they will say, yeah, okay, Arsh, okay, yeah, we'll let you sell the property. Now, for me, it's straightforward because I've got a property investor database that I sell to on a day-to-day basis. We sell on average 10 a week to them. We're consistently growing the database. Some of you will get messages from me daily, whether it be social media. I've got lots of people working for me in the background that are making that happen. So for argument's sake, I could go to anyone on social media, guys, I appreciate you got the deal there. How about we work together, we make a split on the fee. And as a result of that, everyone wins. He makes a fee because at the moment he's putting it on social media and he's pretty much just putting it on there for the whole world to see. Whereas if he does it in a more of a directed approach, where he's actually putting it on the nose of property investors, where they're going to see it and they're going to potentially do a deal. All I would do is that we would do a deal with them and we split the fee on them. So I find a deal without doing any work. And as a result of that, we make a commission on that. I sell the property. The best way of me describing the whole relationship is that he looks after the vendor, I look after my buyer. So that no one gets gazumped. I've got to make sure my buyer performs. He's got to make sure that the seller sells. Does that make sense? Now, we get a load of deals off estate agents. We get hundreds of deals off estate agents. Now, I get loads of deals off estate agents that don't even get listed on Rightmove or even make it onto, even get listed publicly because of my rapport that I've been building with them for a number of years. They come to me and say, Arsh, okay, we've got a property. I'm thinking about putting it online, but before we do so, do you reckon you've got anyone for it? The vendor's extremely motivated. Can we do something with it? And we get loads of people like this day in, day out that contact us about this. And you can do that as well. The one thing that you have to be transparent about is that you don't want to go in with the same nonsense that all the other property investors have gone in and said. And that is what is the breath of fresh air. I don't go in and proclaim that I'm going to buy every deal that they've got at 25% below market value. Let's face it, a lot of the deals that we put out there may actually be market value. Now, why would someone buy a property off me at market value? Perhaps, have you ever thought of, it's not what it is now, what it could become? Now, if you're a subscriber to Your Property Network magazine, you would have seen in the May and the June edition, 2 different articles that I wrote about, May's edition was about becoming creative, about understanding the vision of the property. Now, just imagine now a piece of land. That piece of land isn't going to remain a piece of land forever. Somewhere along the line, Someone's going to have the vision, the creativity to erect a block of apartments on it, or to erect a residential scheme on it, or a partial commercial residential scheme on it, or a supermarket, or a care home, whatever it may be. A piece of land doesn't remain a piece of land forever. But as a result of the new dwellings on the site, that will now increase the value of the land. So when you look at a house, don't just look at it as a house. What else could it be? Could it be a block of apartments? Could it be a HMO? Could it be, could it be an area where you could use it as service accommodation? These are the things that you've got to start looking at it. If I'm buying it at market value, a great example of this strategy is a lease option. For argument's sake, if someone can't sell their property to you at 25% below market value because they owe 100% of the value to the mortgage company. So if it's worth 100 grand and they've got a mortgage on 100 grand, can they actually sell it you for 75 grand? Unless they're prepared to subsidise the sale, no, they can't. So if you are that one-trick pony and you only want to buy a property 25% below market value, guess what? You can no longer do anything with that lead. Whereas if I step in, I said, okay, in an ideal world, I'd love to buy it below market value because let's face it, everyone wants a deal. However, if I can't buy below market value, what do I do with it now? We understand that he's got 100% lending on it. So could it be potential lease option? So could we offer to potentially, we'll then have a look at how long's left on the mortgage. And if he's got 10 years left on the mortgage, could we then create a 10-year lease option or a 9-year lease option? So we become creative with it. As a result of that, what do we offer him? We'll offer to buy the property off him at the price that he wants, which is 100 grand, which is what's outstanding on the mortgage, but we'll give him that in 10 years' time. How is that going to help him now? We're going to give him some cash flow. We're going to give him some money potentially now, or some money now in terms of cash flow, so that they can go off and start their journey elsewhere. And as a result of that, where they're going to make that property generate cash flow, which is then going to self-fund itself in the future. And as a result, in 10 years' time, you'd like to think that the property is going to be worth more than 100 grand. Let's say it's worth 120 grand, which means that you've built in your deposit, you've built in your equity, and as a result, it's self-funded itself. So there are ways that you can have a look at this. You could do exchange and delay completion. Okay, so a couple of people said that the sound had gone. So is everyone still with me? Okay, so everyone's saying fine here. We'll get lots of questions. Okay, so lots of questions are coming about. How do we find motivated sellers? So the deals that inspire me. Okay, so deals that inspire me to get off my arse and do something. Okay, thanks, Elaine. Interesting. Right. So, sorry, that's kind of thrown me completely off track. Right. Okay. So yes, there are lots of ways. Now, networking meetings. Networking meetings are a good thing and a bad thing. Networking meetings could be good to build up the network, but unfortunately, they're not going to be good to find motivated sellers. Let's face it, if you go to a PIN meeting, you go to a PPM meeting, you go to an independent property meeting, they're all going to be in the same scenario like you, that they want to try and create passive income, they want to try and build up their portfolio, and you're not going to find many motivated sellers there. However, if you go to places like landlords forums where you're going to get retiring landlords, you're going to get, I pick up loads of deals from property forums. Property forums and also property networking meetings, but not the PIN meetings, etc. More so the landlords forums where the local authority put on pretty much monthly or bi-monthly or quarterly as a result to let them know of new legislation that's coming in. And they're people that are landlords, that are living it as landlords day in, day out. They want to know what's going on with the new strategies. They want to know what's going on with the new implementation and legislation. And they're the guys that you want to get into bed with. Reason being is that as a result of Section 24, lots of landlords have decided to exit the market. exit the market, and all we've been doing is sweeping up all those deals. So there's a couple of things that you need to be aware of. So Paul has come in with landlord's letters. Now, one thing that we've got to be cautious of is this bloody thing called GDPR. It's come in this week, and no one really knows about the effect that it's going to have on the property market or the property segment. Can we write to landlords anymore? In theory, according to GDPR, in theory, we shouldn't be writing to landlords because we don't have their contact details, or they haven't given us consent to contact them. But then, in the same respect, can takeaways still contact me, or can they still send a leaflet to me? No, because I haven't given them consent to stick a leaflet through the door. Does that mean it's gonna be interesting? It's gonna be interesting, but you know, where does it go? No one knows. Okay, so Dave says, where can we find these landlord forums, please? Now, one thing that I'd suggest to you is get in contact with your local authority and say, guys, when's the next landlord meeting? And hopefully they'll be able to say, well, the next one is diarised for da-da-da-da-da, and then you just turn up. They're free to actually go to. They don't actually charge you for that. They don't actually charge you for that, and it's a brilliant resource. You know, just so you know, the West Midlands hold a one that covers pretty much 4 or 5 different authorities, and you can get the best part of 1,000 landlords in there. Best part of 1,000 landlords in there. You know, it's hard work to try and speak to 1,000 landlords at a time, but you've got to go there. You've got to, you know, put yourselves out there. You've got to arrange to have coffee meetings with them, have a chat with them, and go from there. Okay, so let's get moving on. So we're going to try and find a deal live. Now we've got to do this with the benefit of the Tinternet. So I was quite busy before the webinar. I've got a load of websites that we can find. So for argument's sake, so now straight away we need to, and it's going to be fastest fingers first. Okay, so wow, okay. So straight away, first one that came in is, okay, so SW16 is London. Right, so let's just find, okay, so SW16. Interesting, so 25 properties. Okay, so straight away, so Bob has said, can we try SW16? Right, okay, so I don't know where SW16 is, but straight away, okay, SW16 is Tooting. Right. Okay, I don't know this area. I might just go quiet for a moment whilst I just do a bit of research. So straight away, in SW16, there's 25 ads for private houses to rent in SW16. Now that's 16 adverts. So straight away, we've got 4 1-beds, 3 2-beds, 4 3-beds, 3 4-beds, and 5 3-beds. No, sorry, 3 5-beds. Now, the question is to Bob. Okay, I'm going to get Bob online. Bob, apologies. I'm going to get you online for a second. Let's see if I can get you online. Okay, so Bob, hi, you're live on air. Please do not swear. Hi, Bob. Bob. Okay, so can Bob let me know that he can, okay. Okay, so we can't get hold of Bob. That's gone great. Brilliant. Okay, so Bob, if you can, I'm now looking for 4-bedroom houses in SW16, which means that it narrows down our search massively. So we've gone from, there's 6 on with an agency. In total, there's 9. So there's 6 on with an agency. So straight away, there's a property here. All these properties are already converted into, here we go. Okay, interesting. So straight away, I'm going to go straight in. So Cam. Hello, Cam. So Cam's got his mobile number. Straight away, we can call Cam if you want. He's got a property in Tooting. He's got furnished large double and single rooms, all inclusive. It looks like quite a nice property. You know, to be fair, straight away, we've got some decent pictures. He's renting it by the room. He's got 4 single rooms. Security deposit. All rooms are furnished, come with double beds. Has been refurbished. The nearest train station. Okay, the house has been refurbished. Smoking pets are not allowed. References. Right. Okay. So this is a property. Now it's not for sale. It's for rent. I'm just going to do a bit of research. So here we go. Straight away. This is the research that I do on a day-to-day basis. So we're literally we're not. I'm not sure if we're walking distance, but we're definitely within close proximity of 2 close hospitals straight away. Well, actually, 3 hospitals. We're pretty much central to 3 hospitals. So we've got St George's, we've got St Heliers, and we've got Croydon straight away. Okay, so what we're going to say to Cam. So boom, within I don't know what we're going to say to Cam. In all honesty, let's get on the phone. 07805 872 872. Right, okay, so let's speak to Cam, and this is going to go direct. We never know when someone's.
This is the Vodafone voicemail.
Okay, I never leave voicemails. Hopefully, he'll call me back. What we're going to do instead of concentrate on one area, we've got lots of areas to concentrate on. So when you're putting in your postcodes and your area, can you just let me know? Are we looking for properties for sale? Are we looking for properties to rent? Because if they're for rent, are we looking at, for argument's sake, looking for properties for rent? Also need to kind of get an indication. So here, so in total, there's 11 properties. There's one with the agency. There's 10 on privately. So here we go. 3 to 4 bedroom house, and this is a property we've just gone straight to Cardiff, and this is Damon's request. It's a property consists of entrance hall, downstairs WC, 2 reception rooms. To the first floor, there are 3 bedrooms and a family bathroom. Okay, so have a quick look at the pictures. Yeah, looks okay. Okay, looks nice little kitchen. Okay, all the bedrooms. Okay, so interesting. It's already furnished. He wants £900 a month for it. Okay, I don't know what the room locations are. The purpose of these phone calls, very simply, are to literally get on the phone to someone and see how we can have a conversation with them. So let's have a quick call with Carl. Carl, again, might tell me to get lost. Carl sounds like he's abroad. This may be a very short call. Okay, so Carl's abroad, maybe for the bank holiday weekend. Okay, so Andy said, are we concentrating on rent to rent? No, we don't have to. We can concentrate on properties for sale. I'm just looking at the ones that have come straight away. So if anyone's got an area that anyone wants to concentrate on an area that they want to do can you do Gillingham for rent? Now, guys, you could all do this. You know, whilst we're doing this on the webinar, you could even get your spreadsheet up for. Okay, if we're looking for a 2-bedroom house to buy in Plymouth in Devon, that's under 125 grand. Okay, so that's come straight in from Azu. Okay, that's interesting. So he's after a 2-bedroom, and we're looking for a property. Now, for argument's sake, the reason why I go to Gumtree is for sale. So straight away, he's okay. So we've got nothing in Plymouth. So property for sale in. Let's have a quick look in Plymouth, Devon. So let's just have a quick look at what's in Devon. I've got 0 ads for Devon. That's not right. Let's just refresh. We've got 60 right, property for sale. So just give me an area. What's surrounding Devon? What's surrounding Devon? Give me an area. We're getting hit. I'm getting bombarded. I'm getting bombarded by messages here. So I'm going to concentrate on one at a time. Got 0 adverts, right? What I'm going to quickly do is log out of Gumtree and let's log back in, because it could be that their algorithm has potentially property for sale in Exeter. Got 0 in there. Okay, so let's quickly go back to Devon here. Okay, so we've got 0, right? Okay, don't be deterred by that, because let's face it, if there's nothing for sale there, next thing that I want to also then have a look for is in Devon. We've got Zoo, we've got Open Rent, online letting agent. So you can find a load of deals. So sellers, give me 2 seconds. He said Plymouth, didn't he? So Plymouth. And he's after 2 bedrooms. Include sold. Yes, we will. And what kind of property was he after? Let's just put a house just for now. Okay, these are all the properties at 220,000 for sale. Oh, fucking hell. Okay, that are all sold. Include sold. Okay, no. Okay, so Plymouth, 2 bedrooms. You're trying to tell me there's no 2-bedroom properties for sale within Plymouth? So 200. Now, one thing that you've got to do is that, remember, with Purple Bricks, they are not a traditional agent, which means that potentially when you book the viewing here, you're booking the viewing directly with the owner. So in that respect, for argument's sake, you've got a guide price here. There's lots of properties that potentially you can book the viewing now. You have to book the viewing. You have to register. You have to register your position, and the vendor will call you back. You've got to have a look at what actually works for you. So when you're looking at places like Open Rent, when you're looking at places like Spare, when you're looking at places like Purple Bricks, you are dealing directly with the vendor. You aren't necessarily dealing with their agent direct. Does that kind of make sense? So what we'll do, we'll keep going, we'll keep moving forward. Yeah, okay, so I'm going through. Okay, right. I've kind of opened up some. So we're going to have a look at, someone's just come in and Alan said, let's have a look for property for sale in Middlesbrough. Right. I always start here because this is the easiest way. No, there's something wrong with Gumtree here. There's definitely, I did a search. Let me just quickly do clear the history. So just actually, who was it that was talking about Kent? So, okay, we've got a property, who was it? Someone said, can you try Gillingham? Someone said, can you try Kent? Right, okay, just so that you get given an example, there's another website here called the House Shop, and this is one that I pretty much use on a day-to-day basis. Now, this is perfect. The reason why this is perfect is because someone's got a bungalow here and they've already got planning permission for a piece of, for 4 or 5 different dwellings. Now, as a result of that, how are we going to contact this owner directly? Anyone got any ideas? Has anyone got any ideas how we're going to contact the owner directly? Okay, so straight away, Paul Griffin has said, okay, straight away you could go to Land Registry and you can find out who owns a plot very easily. Or alternatively, Bob, who seems to be on the ball, says you go to the planning register and you have a look to see who put in planning permission for Gladstone Road. And as a result of that, you will have the applicant's details. And as a result of that, you can then contact the applicant via either writing to them, or you can potentially, if they're a company, you can search for them on Companies House and see if they've got a website and see if you can find their phone number. Okay, so does that kind of make sense? So in that scenario, if someone's looking to sell their unit here, so sell by owner, all you do is you request the details. With a lot of these websites, you have to put in all your details. You have to register with them. And then as a result of registering with them, like for argument's sake, Gumtree, in order to get the phone number from the owner or to reveal the phone number, you have to be registered and you have to log in. Does that kind of make sense? Now, for argument's sake, let's just have a quick look. We're going through at such a pace, admittedly, we're losing track of it. So how about Liverpool? So what do you want? Property for sale. If it says nothing for Liverpool, there must be an algorithm issue with Liverpool. There must be an algorithm. So okay, so we've got 8 properties for sale in Liverpool, which is extremely poor. So there's an issue with Liverpool. Let me just try. One thing I might actually try is different. Okay. Is where did we say Liverpool? So 8 properties. Okay. So hang on, add personalisation. So here we go. So for argument's sake, here's someone. So here's Mark. So investment, Susie cash buyer, 2-bed terrace property, freehold in Liverpool, 28% below market value. Okay. Okay. Right. Okay. So we can find this one on the one that I'm logged in on. So it's me logging in again. So here we go. So cash buy here, 72 grand. I can reveal it just by, oh God, what was it? Come on, what is going on? Why am I having such a mare? Bridges. I want any fucking bridges. Size. Okay. I'll come back to you in a second. There we go. Right. Okay. So Mark. So for argument's sake, there's nothing wrong. Oh, fuck off. Let's call Mark. I can pretty much guarantee you that us speaking to Mark now is going to pretty much, he's going to be a property investor that's already sourced this property.
Hi, you've reached Mark's phone. Leave a message and I'll get back to you.
Okay, we don't seem to be having much luck calling vendors. We've got their phone numbers, but they're not seem to be picking up. But does everyone kind of get the gist? That there are so many ways of finding deals now. The next one that I was going to potentially show you very quickly, I'm just conscious of also time as well. Now, for argument's sake, let's just have a quick look. Have you ever considered that there's an auction route as well? So unsold auction lots. So for argument's sake, unsold auction lots. Lots of people asking me about London as a location. So for argument's sake, there was an auction that happened last week or Tuesday just gone, and these are unsold. These are lots that have actually unsold. So they've got 2 flats there at 475,000. Now the question that you've got to ask yourself is that what do you do here? Do you go directly to the vendor or do you go directly to the owner? So let's have a quick look at the catalogue entry. So here's a catalogue entry. So this is by the receivers. Okay, you can't go directly to the vendors on this one because it is receivers. Receivers is pretty much the repossession company or the mortgage company. They won't allow you to buy direct. So this is a property that has been converted into, I think it's two leasehold titles. Now, the one thing that you'd have to do in this scenario is, again, SE6, I'm not too familiar with the figures in that location, but we know that the property is available at 475,000. What do we do with that property when we see it in that scenario? Do we then try and figure out how much the property is actually worth? Is it below market value? This one, okay, let's keep moving on to the next property. So this one here, unsold, the last bid was 183,000. It's actually available at 190,000. So someone can buy it at someone can actually buy it at 190,000 today. Just have a quick look at the catalogue here. So here it is, E10, which is in Leighton. So what is it? 1 bedroom, 1 reception room, kitchen, bathroom. So it's a flat that is available at 190,000. Question is that the one thing that you would do is just do some research as to how much is the property actually worth in that location. Okay, so let's go half a mile and quarter of a mile out, and we'll start the lowest. So okay, so that's a shared ownership. There's another 1 bed. Okay, so let's put some filters in place. Do not show retirement. Do not show shared ownerships. So the next cheapest flat in that location is 225, which is interesting because this flat we can get a good indication as to what this flat is. It doesn't look in bad condition. Okay, it's above a shop. It looks like on a high street location, but in the same respect, yeah, it is below market value, potentially by 10%. Now the question is, how do we get directly to the owner? In this scenario, what you have to do is you download the legal pack, and you see if you can speak to the owner direct. Now, for argument's sake, in this scenario here, you've got potentially got tenancy agreements. Let's just download all the documentation, and you've got all the information that you need pretty much there right in front of you. Okay, so they're taking out the landlords. Managing agent is Swiss Estate, so you could pretty much contact Swiss Estate straight away. So you've got the tenancy agreement there, you've got the contract, we'll have the auction contract here. So they're taking out, but the one thing that you could do is that very easily. So this burden markers are sick of people going directly to the vendor. One thing that you could do is make your inroad via the solicitors. So there's so many ways that, as you can see, they've taken out the vendor's details pretty much on every page, on every document, which is, I understand why they've done that, because they don't want people like you to contact them. So there's so many official copy entry, yet they've taken out the proprietor's details there. They've taken out every single stage. Now, one thing that you just got to bear in mind, that he bought it in 1992. He's still got potentially still got a mortgage on it. So there's things that you can find out about the property. Results, announcement, official copy. Let's see if we can find it on here. Is this the lease? Yeah, that's a copy of the lease. Okay, interesting. So can you see there's lots of documentation that you can look at as a result of, there's lots of documentation that you can look at as a result of finding deals, and properties that are all or any of the vendors. Sorry, how do you get properties from receivers? Just make title number and land registry. So in this case, would you do a property search to get the owner's details? Yes, you would. So in that scenario, that's why you would get the properties details, and you could do a land registry search on it. Now we've got all the land registry documents here. The only thing that we haven't got, unfortunately, is that they've crossed out their name. So for the sake of £3, you could find the owner's details. As a result of that, alternatively, you've got the letting agent that you could contact, you've got the solicitors that you can contact, and there's loads of information there that you could get in contact. You could also get hold of the freeholder as well. So as you can see, they've just crossed out the name of the solicitor is there. You've even got the email address for the solicitor there. You could contact them and say, guys, okay, I appreciate winning to the last auction. It didn't sell. Hi, my name is, for argument's sake, Jackie Davis. And as a result, are they interested to, as a result, would they be interested in doing a deal as a result of it not selling in auction? Now, Jackie said, is there any way that we can get deals from receivers? Yes, you can, but you have to contact them direct. You have to contact them direct and see what is their method of approach. Do they sell it directly to vendor, or do they not? Do they prefer to go through whether they prefer to go through something like an auction or whether they prefer to go through an estate agent. Remember, Jackie, if you're looking to offer them, sorry, I'm just going through questions as well. You need to contact them and say, well, what's your preferred method of disposal? Is it to go through an auction house? Is it to go through an estate agent? You're going to go and approach and offer them 25% below market value. Let's face it, they're not going to accept it. So you need to come up with an offer as to what's going to really work for them. Does that kind of make sense? There are so many ways, and I say this, I'm just conscious of the fact that we've got so little time and so much to get through. There's so many different platforms that you can use. We've got Open Rent, you've got Purple Bricks, you've got House Stop, you've got hang on, which one was this one? All the places that you can. You've got Preloved, you've got Mud Hut, you've got Make Your Move, you've got Free Ads. There's so many different places that you can advertise. You've got Rent My Home, and there's lots of places that you can actually put your property up for either sale. These are all agents that will put you in direct contact with the vendor. So there's 5 there, not to mention Purple Bricks. Sorry, there's 9 there. These are all agents that will put you in direct contact with the owners as a result. So all you've got to do is find the stock, and as a result of that, you know, it's a shame that we haven't been able to get hold of a vendor directly. You know, for argument's sake, we'll give it one last one, I suppose. So okay. Oh, seriously, is sidewalk? What's a sidewalk? So they said, so Gillingham keeps coming up. So Gillingham, one property in Gillingham. Right, okay, interesting. Where's the Flaming property? 3 property house for sale. Okay, so is this direct to owner? It's private as well. Interesting. Okay, so problem that we've got here, we can only email him. We can't contact him directly. So here we go. Fantastic 3 accommodation has so much to offer. Natural railways. 1 hour commute. You can also catch home. Okay. Okay, so he's got a 3-bedroom terraced house to sell in Gillingham. Unfortunately, we can't contact him directly. When we say can't contact him directly, we've got no mobile number for him. We can only email him. So in that scenario, Michael, if you wanted to contact him, one thing that you'd have to do is send him an email. Say, hi, Mohammed, I'm potentially interested in your property. And as a result, see if he comes back to you. But as a result, you know, if he hasn't got a phone number, there's no way that you can call him. Does that make sense? So again, 1-bedroom flat for sale in Slough. Now, Irene has got a flat in Slough. Also, move over if necessary. We can leave all the furniture, lease 125 years. Okay, 199,000. Again, the one thing that you could do here, who said just try. There's so many different. Sorry, I'm just conscious of the fact that everyone is coming in with a completely different area. There's no reason why someone can't contact Irene in Slough now and say, here's her property. It's approximately 33 square meters. I don't know how realistic the 199,000 is. You'd have to do your research on Rightmove to see how realistic that is. And again, you reveal, you've got her phone number. You can speak to her directly. You don't need to go through estate agents. The whole point of this webinar is to show you how you can go direct to vendors. You can go direct to vendors by using multiple different platforms. Remember, going back to my presentation, I'll show you that how lots of different ways. Now, for argument's sake, so you can deal with estate agents. If you want to go direct to vendors, Planning Register is another great one. Planning Register is where all the properties where they're trying to put in planning permission, whether it be for extension, whether they're trying to get a tree knocked down, whether they're trying to put in, whether they're trying to do a development, etc. And you can go directly to them. Does that make sense? We'll come back. We'll try and do another call. So you don't need any money to get started. Now I've shown you this evening how you can get direct to vendors, how you can get their phone numbers, how you can pretty much approach them directly, whether that be through an estate agent, whether it be that through a planning portal, whether it be a planning portal, whether it be through a normal website such as Gumtree. Now there's so many more ways. If you gave me a day with you, to be fair, I could go through all of it. I could go through pretty much most of it. I still wouldn't be able to go through it all in a day. Remember, because you're not buying a property, as a trader, you don't need to worry about the deposit. You don't need to worry about solicitors. You don't need to worry about solicitors, surveyors. You don't need to worry about estate agents. Some sourcing techniques are completely free. I've shown you some just now. So for argument's sake, if you're going to put out leaflets, yes, it's going to cost you money because you've got to pay for money to have them printed in. Yes, you've got to have them, money to have them distributed. However, if you're finding deals online, then sourcing techniques are completely free. There's no risk because you don't actually own anything. Remember what I said about the estate agents? When I go to meet an estate agent, I don't tell them that I'm the buyer. I tell them that I'm going to potentially find them a buyer. That means that you don't actually risk anything. There's nothing that can actually go wrong. Sorry, tell a lie. There's one thing that can go wrong. You don't find a buyer for the property, and as a result, the estate agent may lose comfort or may lose confidence in you. But if you're good enough at your role, and if you understand and you choose the right properties and understanding to have a look at the right properties, there's no reason why you can't. There's no reason why you can't. Sorry, okay, I've got to stop looking at the questions because I keep getting sidetracked. There's no reason why you can't do deals pretty much day in, day out. And I pretty much guarantee someone off this webinar will go off and do a deal. Now, one of the guys that I'm going to speak about is a very inspirational young guy. This is a guy called Rahil. Rahil Jakori is actually based in Saudi Arabia. So he's actually a mechanical and procurement engineer. He lives in Saudi Arabia and he works on a short-term contract, which means that he can be pulled back at any time. He's an expat working abroad. He earns quite a good salary. And the reason for that is because he works antisocial, the antisocial nature of his work, being in a foreign country away from his extended family and friends. He works 12 hours a day, 6 days a week due to tight deadlines. He works 72 hours a week, and it's fair to say that he doesn't have a lot of free time. He's got a wife and 2 kids that are with him in Saudi, so he needs to make time for them. So his focus was to build a UK-based property business. Rahil wanted to break his trading time for money cycle. He wanted to create a secure financial future for his kids. He wanted to have time to be with his kids and the money to support them in every way possible. He was prepared to make the sacrifice now to build a better future for himself and his family. Now, if you think about it, one of the things that he couldn't do, as living in Saudi Arabia, he didn't have the beauty of leaflets. He didn't have the beauty of advertising in newspapers or doing Facebook adverts, because let's face it, no one's going to call a number that's Saudi Arabia, that's based in Saudi Arabia. So he only had one option to him. He wasn't able to view the property, and he wasn't able to negotiate the price with the vendor, which only restricted him to work directly with estate agents. So he started to look at deals on Rightmove. He started to find deals on Zoopla and Gumtree and lots of other online property platforms. In 3 months, Rahil traded 15 deals and made 15 grand in sourcing fees. In actual fact, he actually made 30 grand in sourcing fees, but we'll go through as to what happened. Every deal was listed on with an estate agent and he found online. And Rahil didn't physically view a single property because he used estate agents as his unpaid workforce. He got them to take the photos. He got them to do the floor plans. He got them to do the location plans. All he did is said, guys, okay, you've got the property. I've got a way of selling the deals for you. All he did was look for deals across the entire country. He wasn't going to live in them. He was of the mindset that he wasn't going to live in them. He wasn't going to view them. And so why restrict your limit, or why limit your search to just one area? He searched the entire country and he focused on one region or one county for a week before moving to another. He systematically worked through the whole, through different regions, and he repeated it once he covered the entire country. The reason why I say deal trading is a no excuses way to invest in property is because the only barrier to entry is your determination to make a better life for yourself and your family. You only succeed, and your success is guaranteed, if you follow a proven system and you take committed action. Now, some of the guys, okay, so Neil says, I can get deals, it's the sellers I'm missing. Right, okay. Believe it or not, Neil, the sellers is the easy part, because if the deals are good enough, the sellers will come to you themselves. The reason why I say that, very simply, is it's a double-edged sword. You can have all the best deals in the world and no one to buy them, or you could have loads of buyers and no deals. You're in a great position because you've done the hard work. And you've got the deals. Now, I'll show you how you can find sellers. Now, by following a simple three-step system, the system that I've used since the year 2000, I've been able to trade properties in 3 different types of markets. The rising market of 2006, the crash of 2008, and the flat market of 2010. It's a system that I call the SPS, which is source, package, and sell. So first you source the property, then you package it, and then you sell it. Now, one of the guys that I've been working with this week is a young chap called Ashley Walker. Not sure if he's online. No, he's not online. So Ashley, I've been working with him for the last couple of weeks, and he's quite an enthusiastic young man. And he goes, Arsh, I need to make this work. I have to make this work because I've got a very young family. So he's just had another child. He's based, so Ashley is actually based in Birmingham, and as a result of 2 hard weeks at work, he managed to pull himself 2 deals. Now, Ashley wasn't in a position where he could buy them himself, but what he wanted to do is that he goes, Arsh, I'm only going to trade all the deals. Now, you may have seen the deals that came out. So Ashley's deals was a rent-to-rent deal in Birmingham and a rent-to-rent deal in Wolverhampton. Now, the rent-to-rent deal in Wolverhampton didn't actually go out on email. Reason why? We sold it pretty much to a private investor that I knew in that location. I was actually going to keep the one in Wolverhampton myself. But, for the purpose of what Ashley required, we allowed him to trade it and sell it straight away to an investor, which is on my database. Here's some of the other people. So we've got Vicky Hughes, we've got Alfred Street, we've got we've got Alex Rooney, we've got Ryan, we've got Pauline, we've got Chris Dench. Now, Chris Dench on the far right-hand side actually isn't based in the UK. Chris is actually based in Bulgaria. And as a result, he's done a number of deals actually based in Bulgaria. We've got Sandy, we've got Daryl, and we've got, I'm rubbish with names, we've got Graham. We've got, now the guy on the left-hand side, we'll talk about him shortly. We've got a lady on the right-hand side who's actually still online as well. So actually, let's see. Well, she was online. Christina, are you okay to come online for a second? If she's not, she is now. Hi, Christina.
I knew you'd do this to me.
Sorry, Christina, I didn't even know that you're online. I saw your name. I wasn't sure. So Christina, very quickly, deal trading, introduce yourself. Who are you? What have you done? Where have you come from?
Oh, okay. Well, hi, I'm Christina. I'm from Birmingham. My background is was in physiotherapy for a long time. I specialised in paediatrics. But then I decided a couple of years ago that I didn't want to be a physio anymore, and I played around with a couple of things to see what I could do to earn a living and actually get passionate about. And I almost stumbled across property. I always thought it was something that, I don't know, people with lots of money, power suits, all that kind of stuff did. And thankfully, I found there were lots of people that help you along the way. And Arsh was one of those people. And so after going on quite a few of these types of webinars and having a chat with him, I started working alongside in his mentorship group, and pretty quickly I came across, I think it was three deals in one go, which took me by surprise. But it just goes to show that because uh, rather than just sitting and watching and doing all the learning part, which I kind of like doing, Arsh really encouraged the action part. And shortly after doing some consistent action, I actually started getting some deals coming through.
Okay, so Christina, just from a point of view, now I appreciate that tonight we've literally had so much to do and loads of people throwing different locations at us. But actually, how are you?
I've lost sound, Arsh. Sorry.
Sorry, how easy is it?
How easy is it?
Yeah.
Well, it's the old saying. I wouldn't say it's easy because you have to work at it. It's simple, but you have to work at it. But every deal that I've got, I've had some that worked, some that haven't, some that I've learnt from, but I haven't viewed a single property. Not one of the deals that I've got have been anywhere near me, actually. They've been in places like Doncaster, County Durham, and places like that. I mean, you've taught me to do the necessary due diligence and make sure the numbers work, and then take it from there. But no, they've been done from either your office or my kitchen table.
Okay, brilliant. Well, thank you very much for coming online, Christina. I didn't realise you're going to be online, so thanks for coming on. And there you are, on the right side of the screen. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
So, like I say, Christina, she's on deal number 4, maybe. So she's just done a deal in Middlesbrough, so a house which is converted into 2 one-bedroom flats, and that's generated a fee of £3,000. Now, the lady, we're going to talk about Tutu in a second, which is this lady in the middle. Now, this guy on the left-hand side, now, he's another inspirational guy, because a guy called Russ is based actually in Marbella, and he's actually been trading deals in Marbella, originally from Newcastle, been trading deals in Marbella, based in Marbella. Now we've got Ellie, who's a lovely character. She's based in Derby. We've got Martin, who's doing multiple deals. We've got Helen and Gareth Birth, who you may have watched off one of our testimonial videos. And then we've got, and then we've got Girish here, and then we've got Nick Swell there as well. So Tutu started deal trading in June 2017, but not everyone wants to sell deals. Now, Tutu said to me, Arsh, my aim is to simply source properties and keep them all for herself. She didn't want to sell anything, and she wanted to keep everything for her own portfolio with no money, which meant that she only had one strategy, which was rent to rent. But within 6 months, having learned and followed the consistent action and taken consistent action, Tutu sourced, retained 9 rent-to-rent properties all around the Midlands, and is netting £8,000 a month, which is circa 100 grand a year, which is phenomenal within 6 months period. She has still decided to stay on at her job because the properties are pretty much all given to letting agents and are fully managed, and as a result is pretty much a hands-off transaction for her. She's done this all within 6 months with no previous property experience, and she just simply followed the system to a T. Now, motivation. Now, lots of people have talked to us about what's people's motivation. Remember, there's lots of different reasons for motivation. You've got to think about this from your personal point of view. Have you been through a scenario where you've needed to upscale, where you've needed to downscale, whether you've had to move closer to family, whether you've got a new job and you've had to be in a different part of the country, whether you've lost your job, whether there's been a death in the family, probate case. Now, there's a deal that we did last week, a property in Cannock, which is about 15 miles away from Wolverhampton, and that was a probate case. They had estate agents go round, they valued it at 90 grand. But they reckon that it would have took approximately 6 months. It was unmortgageable because it had no kitchen and bathroom in. It was an old lady that lived there. As a result, passed away, and now they've been granted probate. And we negotiated that deal to 70 grand. But 70 grand today. And as a result, we sold that to one of our investors for a £5 fee. There's lots of deals that we get which are people are in debt, people are going through a divorce, and these are all the different kinds of motivations. Some of the locations. Now, whilst you're reading this, one of the questions that have been coming in consistently is, okay, it says, Arsh, it all sounds great, but how do you manage to tie this up from a paperwork point of view? So I'm just going through a question. Hillary says, she goes, you use heads of terms between you and any agent, or heads of terms between you and the buyer. So, okay, so first thing that we do is, I don't mind sharing this with you. So when a deal comes, let's just say it's from an estate agent. One thing that we do, we get exclusivity with the estate agent for a period, whether it be 24 hours, whether it be 3 weeks, whether it be 1 week, whatever it may be. And that exclusivity period gives us that period in order for us to go and try and find a buyer for that property. So in that scenario, let's just say Christina got exclusivity on a group of 3 HMOs for approximately 3 weeks. In that 3 weeks, they weren't on Rightmove, they weren't listed anywhere else, so we couldn't be cut out the centre. We get exclusivity, or we get exclusivity agreement signed, and as a result, then we've got exclusivity to that property, which gives us the exclusivity to sell that property, and then we put it out to our investor database. As the result of that, all the properties that we get, we've got some form of exclusivity or option on. And as a result, we then proceed forward to sell it, and then we put it out to investors. As soon as we put it out to investors, one or two of you may have called me when you've seen the deal and said, okay, Arsh, I'm interested in it. Next thing that we do is we take the reservation fee up front. So whatever the finder's fee is on the email, we would ask someone to pay us that pretty much immediately, and that would be held into, that would either be held in an escrow account or would be held with solicitors. Anything that we take is pretty much fully refundable right up to the point of exchange contract. So there's no risk of anyone losing any money. Now, as a result of that, as we've been paid out very early at the initial stage before they've even viewed the property, there's no way of us being cut out the centre. Does that make sense, Hillary? So we can't be cut at the centre. Sorry, I'm just going through some of the questions. So we don't get cut out the centre. All the areas, now at the moment, we're only concentrating on the UK property. And I pretty much imagine that I've pretty much bought and sold, well, not even bought, appraised and sold a property in pretty much every town and every city in the UK. And just to give you an example, last year, 2017, we successfully traded 483 deals. That's 483 deals that were over the line, paid out, and the average sources fee was around £4,000, which gave us a net income of £1.9 million with no capital outlay, no capital input to any deal, where we simply sourced, packaged, and sold it. Now, here's some of the deals that we did in 2018 that you would have seen. Some of you guys might have even approached us about some of these deals. So we've got the 50% below market value deal in Blackpool, which purchase price 60 grand. We took on average 300 calls for this deal. People are still calling us for this deal, pretty much a week late on. Here's another one, HMO in Manchester Road, Bolton, which again, purchase price 290, negotiated at 230, giving us pretty much a 21% below market value. And here's a rent-to-rent deal that we had in, which one was this one? This was Stockville Road in Birmingham. This was Ashley's deal. This was actually Martin Webb's deal. And this was actually Rahil's deal, believe it or not. So these are all guys that are actually doing deals with me. So this year we're on target for to do 500 deals. So the average sources fee of around £5,000, which will give us an income of around £2.5 million. All on property that we simply control, packaged and sold. No capital input into any of the deals. All we've done is sourced, packaged and sold. As Warren Buffett said, you are not what you do. You are what you do, not what you say you'll do. Email that I put out earlier this week. Are you a talker or are you a doer? I'm very much a doer. I don't like talking about it. I'd prefer to just get on and do it. Now, I'm just going to briefly mention to you something that I run is something called the Elite Property Tribe. Now, the Elite Property Tribe, very simply, is a mentorship program which I devised 2 years ago, and it's a 52-week online training program where we look at 6 different cash flow strategies. Remember, at the start of the session, I said, don't be a one-trick pony. Understand how to become creative, understand how to become flexible, and as a result, every property that you look at, you will be able to find a solution for. Whether it's deal trading, whether it's rent to rent, whether we look at lease options, whether it becomes a service accommodation unit, whether it becomes a HMO unit, whether it becomes a commercial to residential deal. Within that period, I also give you everything that you need to succeed within the 6 cash flow strategies. So I'll give you all the contracts, give you all the checklists, and give you all the profit calculators and all the proven sourcing techniques. Now, the difference between this and any other mentorship program that you may go on is that I hold you accountable. I am actually the person that drags you through the process. I say drag because I literally hold your hand through the whole process. I'm always on the end of the phone. You'll have my personal mobile number, and anytime you run into a roadblock, you just pick up the phone to me. I only teach strategies that I've done myself. I've suffered through the costly mistakes so that you don't have to. Don't worry, guys, we've got lots of questions for time for questions at the end, and I'll be going through the questions. So how it works with the Elite Property Tribe is that every Monday between 8 and 9 p.m, you'll have a weekly training and a Q&A webinar for a whole year, every Monday evening, to give you the skill set and the mindset and the motivation for you to source, trade deals and flip property. You get access to an online property portal, which will have all the previous year's webinar recordings, and we upload all the webinars every Monday, just in case you miss one of the events. And we also meet 4 times a year. So we meet every 3 months. The next one is Saturday, the 9th of June. It's going to be held in Birmingham, and we've got 3 inspirational speakers. You get access to an online portal, which has got all the recordings on. You get access to all my leaflets, magazine adverts, 3-part letters that you can use to source deals immediately. You get access to my power team, which is my architects, my accountants, my lawyers, my mortgage brokers, and you actually get to join a supportive community. Now, something that you're going to hear popping in the background is the WhatsApp. So for argument's sake, this is a WhatsApp group. Sorry, I'm just going to close it so it doesn't keep going on. So we've got WhatsApp group, which is literally everyone in the group talking, motivated property investors that are determined to change their lives, that will inspire you with their success and share their experiences so that you can avoid costly mistakes and shortcut your success. We get quarterly meetings, like I said, with keynote speakers. We do a live Q&A, and we also do a live deal analysis process. And in actual fact, I'll show you how you can sell your deal you source in less than 2 days when you JV with me. I've got a database of 103,000 property investors that are hungry for your B&B deals. But you can only access that database if you're part of the EPT. You get access to a private WhatsApp group, and you instantly become a lead magnet that effortlessly pulls in between 6 and 10 deals a month. And I'll also be showing you how to shine a spotlight on your deal so that you can so your investors are desperate to have it. And just as one person said, I'll be even showing you how to build your own investor database. So finally, there's a 52-week agenda, so it is very much structured. We've got lots of people in the background that are making it even further structured. So as you can see, some of this is part of the criteria: how to negotiate rent-to-rent deals, how to find B&B deals, how to make properties into HMOs. So depending on what your strategy is, we will tailor it according to you. Now, if you were to come and do a one-on-one mentorship with me, it would be £12,000 a year, which is £1,000 a month. But I'm not asking you to do that, because what we're offering is actually the group mentorship, which is £6,000 a year, but you don't pay £6,000. You only actually pay £3,000 up front, and the other 50%, the other £3,000 is paid once you succeed. So once you do deals, so you take small payments, and you've got an option of paying £3,000 up front or in 3 payments, if that helps you. So the one thing that I offer on all my training is a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you come and join the Elite Property Tribe and you find it's not for you, or you don't like it, or you're finding that life's getting in the way, you've got a 30-day money-back guarantee. You join, and if you decide it's not for you, all you have to do is send me a quick email, and no questions asked, no hassles, no forms to fill out, no problems at all. Amanda said it's a live event recorded for those in the EPT who can't make it. Everything that we do is recorded. So whether the live event is recorded, whether the webinars are recorded. So Paul says you even answer your phone when you're on holiday, and that's very true. So you can even get directly through to me all the time. So to join, all you have to do is invest £3,000 into your property success. And by doing that, you go to arshellahi.com/EPT 2018. The first webinar of the program starts on Monday, the 4th of June. If you join tonight, believe it or not, you get actually added in straight away so that you can start to access the back catalogue of the previous year's webinars. You get to access all the documents and all the recordings from the previous live sessions. So there's loads that you can access pretty much straight away. So Ashley joined in Feb 2018. He's traded 2 deals. He's on the cusp of doing his 3rd deal, and he's finding more deals on a weekly basis. And the 2 deals that he found that have been paid out, the rent-to-rent deal in Birmingham, the rent-to-rent deal in Wolverhampton, each were £5 each. Christina's traded 3 deals, is on the cusp of her 4th deal, 3 HMOs in Doncaster, and we've got one negotiated just at the house in Middlesbrough that's been converted into 2 flats, and she's got another deal which we're going to appraise tomorrow, which is a house converted into 2 2-bedroom flats. And again, that's something that Christina is going to trade for another £3,000 fee. Now, Russell has been doing all this whilst in Marbella. He started in January 2017, and he's in February 2017. He sold his first deal for £3,000. He went on to source other stock through auctions, which had no cost attached to them, and he sold in less than a day. He's been living and doing this all while living in Marbella, and he's gone on to source additional 10+ deals whilst abroad. Now, a question I've got to ask you is that, are any of these people any different to you? The answer is no, they're not. All they've done is that they've put their doubts aside for long enough to give this a try at no risk to them. And they've achieved unbelievable results in just 1 month. Results that they've been able to replicate month after month after month. Just imagine having to do never having to do a day's work for anyone else for the rest of your life. No more boss, no more commuting, no more pressures, no more financial worries. Imagine having a business that fits around your family, never having to miss your kids' plays, concerts or sports matches. And how good would it feel to write your letter of resignation? Because every month for the last 3 months you've been making on average £3,000. So here's what's on offer again. You join the EPT for £3,000. The other £3,000 is only paid once you do deals. You can either pay in 1 lump sum or you can pay in 3 monthly sums. And some people will say this is impossible. If you think it's impossible, it will be impossible. If you tell yourself you can do it, you will do it. You've seen the success of people who have got so many obstacles in their way, but yet they've gone off and succeeded to great successes. With all the odds stacked against him in a different country where he can't view, where he can't negotiate, and he's gone on and done some fantastic deals. And again, we've given you the 30-day money-back guarantee. So you join by simply going to that link, arshellahi.com. We're going to go through some questions in a minute. Michael said, did they all JV with you? Yes. So basically, if someone wants to JV with me, we find if someone has got a deal and they want to JV with me, they can only JV with me if they're in the Elite Property Tribe. And as a result, when we sell the deal, we JV and we do a 50-50 split on the whatever the fee may be. So yes, that's how it operates. So what I'm after is exceptional individuals that I can turn into the greatest deal sources in the UK. And for tonight, like I said, we're closing it this week, and you can have it for £3,000. And the first webinar starts on Monday, the 4th of June. And as a result, once we close, there is no further intake for the rest of 2018. You'd have to wait until 2019. Okay, so Chi says, what happens if you have bad luck and you're not able to make any deal in the 52-week period in EPT? Now, Chi, it's rare that someone wouldn't do a deal in 52 weeks. It is extremely rare that someone wouldn't do a deal in 52 weeks. However, one thing that you've got to bear in mind, that you're going to become not only a deal sourcer, but you're going to become a much more rounded investor as a result of all the learning that you're going to get over a 52-week period and the mentorship and the hand-holding process of working with me. The one thing that I have forgot to mention is that not only having access to me, you also have the ability to come and shadow me in my office. So any EPT member, as long as we schedule it in so that it doesn't also I always get people to come and spend time with me in the office. So in my office, I've got a desk which is spare that I've created specifically for anyone. So Chi said, so when do I need to pay the other £3,000 if after 52 weeks no deal? You know what? You don't pay the other £3,000 if you don't do a deal. So for argument's sake, just so you know, Tutu, her rent-to-rent deals, because she's kept those, we don't charge her the other £3,000. They're her deals. The £3,000 is paid if you trade deals to my investor database. Does that make sense? So so you pay the £6,000 if you do the other deals. If you don't do any deals, the education has just cost you £3,000. Does that make sense? So in actual fact, when you break it down like that, £3,000 for 52 weeks is less than £60 a week, which is less than £10 a day. And that's what your education is costing you. So here's what you get. You get weekly training, Q&A webinars to give you the skill set and the mindset and the motivation to source, trade deals and flip houses. You get access to an online portal. You get to JV with me. You get to access to a private Facebook group. You get access to the WhatsApp group. You get quarterly meetings. And you get access to Power Team. And also you get access to me, and you can come and spend time with me in the office. Here's a WhatsApp group, so you can see every day someone's in there asking new questions. Here's a platform where all the webinars are recorded. Here you can see some of the recent updates. So every day someone's updating something new there. We've got a buddy scheme where we buddy you up with other EPT members. So keep moving on. Here's some of the, I forgot what we call it. Here's some of the flow charts that we've got, so showing you how we approach vendors, what questions you should be asking, and how that takes us in terms of the flow. And then that kind of brings us to the end of the presentation. So someone said, can you put the link back up? So there we have it. So, okay, we're going to spend the best part of, I'd say the best part of 5 minutes here going through some questions. Okay, so Cherie says, if I join the program, if I find a deal, can I sell it to an investor, to a seller from your database? Absolutely. That's one of the most key benefits of people joining the Elite Property Tribe, because not only do you get access to me, you also get access to our database. And if we sell it to your database, we then do a 50-50 split to your on the fee, which means that everyone wins. I'm doing a load of work trying to find you a buyer. All you need to do is keep hold of the seller and make sure that they're prepared to sell. I'll make sure that my buyers buy. So did all the people that found deals JV with you and use your investors database? Pretty much, Michael, yes. Every deal traded, can I pay? Every deal traded, can I pay you straight back? Okay, so I don't understand the question. So okay, so Azu has asked a question: how are you negotiating the price on the property via an estate agent when you are remote and you can view the property which you aim to flip or pass on to investor? Believe it or not, Azu, the question that you're asking is, how do you negotiate? You negotiate pretty much by sitting, well, as you are at the moment, sitting at the desk and you're looking at remember, you're looking at stuff that's for sale, you're looking at stuff that's for sold, but you're looking at stuff for sale, you're also looking at stuff that's sold, and you're making a market comparison on that basis. So on that basis, and then as a result of that, so yeah, sorry, there's lots more questions coming in. So as a result, there you make your offer on the basis of the sold comparables, not the for sale comparables. There's nothing stopping you actually from going to visit the property. I've not visited a property that I've traded, within the last few years. I can't get everywhere. I can't get to Blackpool. I can't get to Middlesbrough. Well, I can, but it's not the best use of my time. And I'd suggest the same for you. If an agent isn't prepared to work with you because they don't believe you, first of all, you've got to kind of question: what's wrong with your offering? Why are they not believing you? And the second thing that we need to figure out then is that are they the right agent to be working with, or are we just wasting time with them? Well, let's go and find another one that will work with you. So Paul has said, do you go through company setup, tax efficiencies of the sourcing company, etc.? Yes. In actual fact, the next live meet that we've got is Saturday, the 9th of June, which is a week on Saturday. One of the guys actually speaking there is a chap called Simon Masevich, who's going to actually be talking about company setup and tax efficiencies, and a talk that we've put together called AXA Tax, and that will also be up on the platform as well. And then Paul Lester says, are the weekly emails all on a Monday night for us? Are your weekly emails all on a Monday night for us? Yes, it is Monday night between 8 and 9 p.m. Remember, we do 2 intakes of the EPT, one in February, one in June. So all webinars for the February guys are between 7 and 8, and for the guys that join in June, it'll be between 8 and 9. So you can actually listen to both webinars if you want, or you can just listen to your webinars. You've got the whole option of listening to the whole 52 weeks. Priscilla's just joined. Well done, Priscilla. A few others have just joined. So what happens if the buyer finds the property online, e.g. on Rightmove? Well, in theory, you should have exclusivity with that property with the agent before it goes out to an investor database. So Chi has said, if you can't get to the live meeting, is there a way to join remotely? Yes, we live stream all of our live meetings. They're also recorded, and also you get the option to attend. There will never be an option for you not to either attend remotely or in person, Chi. So, and remember, they're also recorded, so you can watch them thereafter as well. Okay, so Michael said, how do you get compliant to trade deals? So there are certain things that you have to do to become compliant, and there's nothing. You can Google this. This is pretty much straightforward. So you've got to become a member of the PRS, which is Property Redress Scheme. You should become part of the Ombudsman Scheme. So the Property Ombudsman Scheme, you need to have some form of insurance in place. So indemnity insurance or the public liability insurance. I've got public liability insurance to cover me up to £2 million. And it's not a massive cost. It's about £1,000 a year. But bear in mind that you're going to have so many deals that you're going to go through in a year. That seems minor. Okay, so do you only show how to find deals or give training on managing a rent-to-rent ourselves if we wanted to? We actually go through that as well. So we teach you how to find tenants. We show you how to manage agents. We show you how to set the property up. It's a whole 52-week program. So it's not just only deal sourcing. I want you to become an all-rounded property investor. Okay, so Chet says, what's the best way of contacting you? Because I did email you that. I'll be completely honest. Email's probably not my best way. Probably the best way is my phone number, and I'll give you my phone number in a second, just at the end of the session, Chet. I am going through emails. I've got a new PA that's going to be going through my emails, so don't panic. So if you like the thought of it, okay. So Chet, you'll get my phone number at the end of the session. Just give me a call. Paul said, before making a decision on the course, am I able to come and meet you in person and attend the event on the 9th of June? No, you're not. the honest answer. That session is only for EPT members. The way that you should look at it, Paul, is that anyone that comes on is going to obviously adhere to the 30-day money back guarantee as well. So if you wanted to commit to it, and then you could join the webinars and then also join the session on the 9th of June as well. And at the end of the 30 days, if you think it's not for you, then so be it. You know, we're not here to hold anyone to ransom, so to speak. Okay, so why don't you make some of the deposit why don't you make some of the deposit non-refundable to cover any costs you incur? Jill, shall I be honest? The reason why we don't do that is because we're so confident with what we offer is golden that we it's very rare that we have people drop out. Does that make sense? So okay, so the paperwork is an option for 3 weeks. It gives you exclusivity to the property for 3 weeks. I'm going through some of the question. Okay, so when is the last time to book for the June intake? So we're going to be closing it Wednesday this week. We're going to be closing it Wednesday this week. You're going to be getting some emails. You're going to be getting some emails confirming that we're closing it this week. And after we close it, that's it. There's no more for 2018. We start working with it. We start working with the people that we've got, and we go from there. So Michael says, how do you get exclusivity on deals? Now remember, when agents are selling properties, when estate agents are selling properties, that's their main motive, is trying to sell it as quickly as possible. Now, if you're going to them and say that you can find them a buyer within 48 hours, you know, there's no reason why they won't give you exclusivity to that property unless they've got direct instructions from the vendor not to do so. So getting exclusive from a property is actually quite easy. We get exclusivity on deals pretty much on a day-to-day basis. You know, get the contract in place, show them how they can benefit, show them how you can deliver on what you're offering, and they'll give you exclusivity on all the deals. Paul said, how did you build up your investor database? Now, it's taken me a long, I've been doing it a long time. I've been doing this 18 years. And you've got to remember that I did this before the evolution of the internet as well. So I had to do a lot of hard work beforehand. Now, with the evolution of the internet, it's a lot easier. And if one thing that we will say, Paul, is that that's one of the golden nuggets that, that we will be teaching on the EPT. So Martin said, how do you access database of buyers and investors? Now, remember, you've got to have a look, and you've got to go sit in certain locations. You've got to sit in certain locations where you know people are interested in property. People are interested in property. They'll also be interested in purchasing or acquiring other properties. So you've got to think about it from that point of view as well. You've got to become a little bit creative with your approach. And if you're creative with it, there'll be no shortage of buyers for your property. Are there any other questions? Okay, so Paul says, do you go through the CRM system that you use? Believe it or not, I'm such a simple guy that yes, CRM systems. So I'll be teaching you what CRM systems to reach out to your investors database. I'll be showing you which CRM systems to store the details of your investors in a I'll be also showing you. Show you how to become GDPR appliant, so that you can ask your investors, show your investors that you are GDPR compliant. Roy says, how much time is involved in an average weekly basis to find deals? 10 to 20 hours. 10 to 20 hours is more than plenty. Bloody heck. Some people only spend 1 hour a night, so 5 hours a week. Giving themselves a weekend off. If you're putting in 10 hours a week, that is some serious time. If you're putting in 20 hours a week, that's full-time hours. And if you're not finding deals in that period, I would be extremely surprised, Roy. So Shri has said, can I get to choose what I would like to learn from on your program, or do I have to follow a step-by-step plan where I join? No, believe it or not, Shri, if you said, you know what, to be fair, I only want to concentrate on rent-to-rent, you could go and look at all last year's webinars on rent to rent, and you could concentrate on that, and then you could come to me and say, oh, okay, here's what I want to do. Here's what I want to do. How can we? And I could even tailor it according to what you wanted to do. You know, it's not even though we've got the structure in place, I'm very approachable in that respect. So you can say, well, here's what I want to do. How can we do it? And how can I get from there? So that's okay. So Paul says, so for 10 to 20 hours a week, how many deals do you reckon we find in a month? On 10 to 20 hours a week, I'd like to think that you'll easily find 4 deals in that month. If you're working on the basis of about 5 hours for 1 deal, 10 to 20 hours, 10 hours, you'll find 2 deals. If you gave me 10 hours, I'd be interested to see how many deals that I would find, but that's because I've been doing it. This is like second nature for me. Give me 10 hours. Believe it or not, I know it sounds daft, and I'm not going to say this in a derogatory way. I threw Christina a bone a couple of weeks ago. And I was literally on holiday. I was in Dubai, and I found a deal. I said to Christina, chase this up. Christina chased it up. Guess what? It was a deal. I could spot them, and it took me 5 minutes. So in that respect, I want you to become receptive to deals and showing you how you can do this. Yeah? So just finally, moving on, I'd like to say thank you for taking the time to learn the secrets of deal trading. Hope you now understand how you can use the simple 3-step system to achieve your property cash flow goals. And as Chet said, if you want to have a chat, always happy to have a chat. Always happy to have a chat. You've got my mobile number there. You can call me directly. Paul said, is it okay for you to have your mobile number to book in a call? Yeah, I'm going to also be emailing you, asking you if you want to book a call with me. So if you want to have a chat, you're more than welcome to have a chat with me, and let's see what we can do. And let's get you guys working. Let's get you guys moving. That's the whole point of it. I want you guys to start working with me. I want you to start moving so that you guys can do deals. If you want to watch one of the testimonials, go to elitepropertytribe.co.uk. Watch some of the testimonials from Martin and Elliot Webb. They're now on a portfolio of about £2 million portfolio within 12 months. They've got some terrific deals going on. They've got a pipeline of deals to cover them for the whole of 2018 and 2019. And that's as a result of the stuff that I've been working with them. Priscilla, I'm really looking forward to working with you. So I've seen your order come through. Thank you very much. So guys, if there are any other questions, feel free to email me. You've got my email address there. I'll try and get back. Well, I will getting back to you pretty much straight away. And you've got my mobile number. Give me a call tomorrow. Even though it is bank holiday, I'll be happy to have a quick chat with a few of you. And then let's see what we can do. On that note, guys, I wish you all a very best rest of the week. Enjoy the rest of the bank holiday weekend, and I'll speak to you all very soon. Take care. Good night. God bless.